Yo, what's good, my people? Listen, today gonna be a crazy one. We are listen. We doing all things Chris Grier. He literally confirmed the Ramsey trade. We're gonna talk about that. The state of the Dolphins. You want to see? Well, we're gonna get both our standpoints on what we think the state of the Dolphins is, and yeah, we're really gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about why these players are leaving. We're gonna talk about how much blame Chris Grier deserves. Who's at fault, and what do we think about the direction of this team, and do we agree with it? But before I start, let me bring up my co-host real quick. Lou, what's happening?
Tone, what's good?
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Dre. Small Taylor's Mountain, baby.
Well, well,
Yo,
well,
hey,
Tone, real quick, I think we need to address the big elephant in the room.
yep. Talk about
There was a discrepancy earlier, and I'm still feeling the type of way, and I just want everybody to know, right, that there will be a theme, at least for me, for the entire show. Retaliation is a must.
it.
You hear me? You will hear that throughout the show. Retaliation is a must.
Oh my God. Listen, man. Y'all don't let Lewis fool y'all. We know what y'all here for. We are breaking down the Chris Grier presser. I know we haven't did it on this channel. We will be breaking it down. Now we're not playing a video like most people want to do. But you know, Cap, I see you in the building. Let me get in that chat real quick. Marinos, go shout out to you. Look at Von Joe early. Don't forget to hit the like button. If we get 20 before the show starts, Alex will make an appearance. Well, y'all ain't got the 20 yet. Shout out Miss Relentless. Hey, listen, Jess, miss, I do my best. I do my best, but I appreciate you. Oh yeah, that was, you know what I'm saying? Mark, what's good, Mark? And I already brought up Jay. Jay talk about small channels, man. Matter. Oh man. Uh G, there's a space after the other space still going. I heard somebody would fit it some type of way, but we're not gonna get in that. Oh, what's good? What's his name again? Oh yeah, Buffalo Bill.
Michael K.
Michael K. That's go. Shout out to Michael K in the building. Discrepancies. Dolphins went 5 or 6. Hey, Michael K. I'm not even I'm not even mad at that. That might be that might be beneficial for us. But listen, Lou, you know what I'm saying? Without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's get straight to it. Let me get before we break it down segment by segment, what are your overall thoughts on the Chris Grier presser? And yeah, how you feel about it, bro?
Well, Tone, I don't want to take any of your thunder because I kind of heard a little bit of what your thoughts were earlier. I'm on the kind of same wavelength. Like, as far as what he said on certain aspects, listen, it was basically coach talk and general manager talk and just from that perspective. Now, there are some key things that I took away from it and certain things that I liked about what he said. You know me, Tone. Um, Again, retaliation is a must, right? I think Chris Grier, what he did yesterday was a little bit of retaliation is a must.
Mm,
Tone,
mm.
I told you a couple months ago on this very small channel, right? That Chris Grier sits in his office with a notepad and he just, oh, oh, well, you wanted this? Cool. Let me check this down and the date, time that it happened. Oh, you wanted to do this? Okay, let me put a check right here. And and I think yesterday what he told everybody was, I'm tired of taking a back seat and I'm tired of the collective and I'm tired of taking all the bullets when I'm not the one making every single decision in here. And from that standpoint, just to kind of end off, so I could throw it to you a little bit. Yeah, from that perspective, I liked a lot of things that he said, and I'm sure we'll keep getting into it, but that's just my overall thoughts. A lot of general manager talk, and then a little bit of retaliation is a must.
You know what, Lou, and shout out to the homie Nene. She's the one that really she would like, she wanted to see our takes on it. After we, went and broke it down. And I think, from a lot of people, not only just Nene, but I think a lot of people probably expected us to go over there and be pissed off by what he said. Because he said a couple of things, like I'll say one thing that obviously I don't think no one liked his standpoint on that, which was the he's okay with the culture here. Now, if you know anything about over here, at least on this side, on this YouTube channel, no, bro. Like that culture is the biggest, one of the biggest issue. And we did have a debate back and forth on who do we think is who creates the culture, and we'll get into that.
Now, Tone. Now, Tone, real quick.
Oh no, my bad. I take that back, TD.
Now, Tone. Didn't I tell you that TD was a two-a-near? Didn't I tell you that?
That is a fact.
I told you TD was a two-a-near. That's crazy, man.
Did he just say, TD? I know you're a two-a-near, but you over here. So I'm just gonna give you a forewarning.
Maybe your best course would be to tread lightly.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, TD. Might want to tread lightly over here. But listen. All I want to say is, from that standpoint of what we heard him say, you were spot on. I expected that. I didn't expect him to give us too much information. I expected it to be PR answers. I expected him to be basically what he was. Now, when we start breaking down the segments, right, and we get into what he said, like I said, he said, Lord taught me how to do it there. But when we break down the segments, like I said, the first one, the culture, right? And matter of fact, I just dive right into it. The culture part about it. When he sits there and he says, oh, we okay with our culture. Cool. I expect you to say that. But I'm still going to hold your feet to the fire. And I know that that's supposed to be the PR answer, but I'm about to see you trying to change this culture. I'm about to see you. Your actions speak louder than your words have to come into fruition now, because you remember he did say, he made a statement about Cam Smith can't hold his hand no more. He had to step up. The Storm Ducks of the world. He said that. He also said that they were leaving no stone unturned when it comes to the offensive line. And then he also said about bringing in people that could deal with constructive criticism. So all this, we cool with the culture. No, what you said afterwards shows me that you understand that there needs to be a culture change. So I'm not going to expect you to just come out and throw your players on the bus. I think you made a great point when you were talking about it earlier. What did we expect him to come out and do? Just throw everyone under the bus? It would have been crazy if he would say, yeah, we trying to get Tyreek out the building. First of all, where did his value go when you come out and say that?
Well, Tone, the thing is, right, he basically said things that people all day today, Tone, what they were saying in the Twitter space. But he did say it. Let me point out a couple things that he said. When Chris Grier comes out and says, we got to get people in the building that are able to take criticism, that are tough-minded, that are ready to work, is that not taking shots?
Yeah.
Who do you think he's talking about? Now, we always talk about, right, Tua couldn't take criticism. Do you think that was a shot at Tua when he said that?
Possibly. I mean, he ain't put no names on it, so it's
again
your interpretation. He leaves it up to you.
It's subliminals. It's subliminals, right?
Yeah.
When I hear the man say we need to get guys that can take criticism, one of our biggest complaints about Tua is he can't take criticism. Right? A person like me, I don't need to hear Tua's name inserted there. Let me be the one to insert it. He was talking to Tua. He was talking to guys like Javon Holland. Now, Javon Holland ain't here, but that's who he's talking to. He was talking to others in the building, right? It is what it is, bro. From this standpoint, I think when he says culture, I don't think everybody is soft. I don't think Jalen Ramsey is soft, Tom. I don't think Jordan Brooks, our new linebacker, is soft. I don't think Calais was soft. Hell, I don't even think Tyreek Hill is soft. But I think there are a couple players that, again, have all the physical tools, and I don't mean toughness by their physicality, right? And to play in this league, you got to be physical. But to also play in this league, you got to have a kind of a tough mindset, right? Things ain't always going to be peach. It's not always going to be peaches and cream, Tony. It's not always going to be rainbows and ice cream. Sometimes you're going to have to hear that you're not playing well. Get your head out of your ass. Sometimes you're going to have to hear, hey, man, just, what are we doing out here? And it just seems like a lot of players in this building, when it happens to them, they fold. They go cry. They ask themselves in the mirror, oh, am I worthy enough to play this game? And I think that's what they were talking to. I think Chris Grier, from that standpoint, and we'll get into more things that he said, but I just wanted to highlight that specific. We need to get more guys in here that can take criticism. I don't know what people are talking about oh, he didn't take no shots at nobody. No, that's a shot. He's shooting.
You know, I mean, I get it if you say that, but I still think he went about it in the right way without putting names on it. And yeah, like if we could easily be like, yeah, he's talking about, let's say Tua right there. He might have been talking about Raheem mostly because they got rid of him. They benched him. He could have been talking about David Long Jr. They got rid of him in the middle of the season. So he can't be talking about those guys. And
a lot of players, absolutely.
Some guys in here. But initially, because I know once, because I'm going to circle right back to Tua, but I'll Tua tends to take a large part of the segment. But initially, the first thing he addressed was Jalen Ramsey, and he came out and just confirmed, hey, listen, man, yeah, we're looking, we're talking to other people, we're looking to make a trade. What do you think what do you think his trade value is right now?
Ramsey?
Yeah, Ramsey, like right now.
Well, again, bro, you got him for a 3rd round pick in Hunter Long. Right? I don't think you're going to get the same amount of value. So what, a 4th, maybe 4th, 5th, something like that?
You think it by any chance, or they could get like a conditional 3rd? Like it start as a 4th and depend on whether it's playing time, with production.
It could be. It could be. Tone, but
that might be best case scenario, right?
That's the best case scenario. The fact of the matter is, though, you got to move them.
You have to. Yeah.
You got to move them, right? And what's concerning to me, Tone, I'm gonna be honest, is let's say it is a 4th round pick, and let's say it's a 5th round pick. What scares me the most is the Dolphins saying, "Well, that's not enough value," and you keep them. Because at the end of the day, bro, it's not going to work out. The rumor already is that the cat's out of the bag. You were looking to trade him. He knows that. The fans know that. The organization knows that. How do you bring a guy back into the locker room after knowing all that? You think, even if you bring him in here, do you think he's giving you 100%, Tony?
Yeah, and that's the risk you take. So if I'm thinking about it, and from a franchise standpoint, they may have some potential shooters that they're at least 95% sure that they're going to be able to get a job done, and they're just wearing out their options, seeing what deal they're going to take. They should have multiple offers on the deal for them to come out and just put it out there. They might have said that to see how many other teams that wasn't sure if they was trading them or they were shopping them around, to see if someone else come in and give them an offer that's a little bit better, or if it convinced another team to raise their offer, knowing that, maybe there's some competition coming in. That could be a potential. Well, that could be a reason why they would do that. But I'm more than allowed. What you're saying, no, bro, you cannot bring him back into this locker room. You can't. I mean, I know he said if he does come back, they'll move forward, based on whatever, however they got to move forward. However, at this point, the best case scenario to move for Ramsey and the Dolphins is to move him, because we don't know if now he did say he didn't ask for more money, or he didn't ask to be traded. Well, we know he asked for more money last season. That's why y'all extended him. So I think there might be some truth behind that he didn't ask for more money. But the part about him not asking to be traded, I'm not really sure about that, because it's not a coincidence after, Calais Campbell say, no, I'm gonna go to Arizona for $1 million more. You could have made that up in Texas. You lose that in Texas going to Arizona. And then Teron Armstead, like, nah, I'm gonna retire. And Ramsey looking around like, hold on, we came in, especially the Armstead, I mean not Armstead, the Calais Campbell came in on a 1-year deal thinking we was in win now mode. And I'm looking at the offseason, I'm looking at free agency, and it's looking like y'all making, you remember what I said, Lou? Right over here. Now, you said it was 1 year, I said it was 2 years, but we both were under the impression that they're trying to sneak in a rebuild right under our nose. So we can sniff that out. What do you think the people that have agents, they have people in the building, that's people, and that they're actually in the building, he's sniffing the same thing out as well. So he's looking around. So I'm a little hard pressed to believe that Chris Grier is being honest when he said Ramsey did not ask for a trade. I think he did. I think he did it respectfully, and I just believe that they was like, man, let's get this job done. Let's not make it messy. We're already in the news for all the wrong reasons. It's too much negativity out there. Let's do this and let's part ways in a way that is more respectable and admirable for both sides. You don't want another Brian Flores, Vic Fangio type deal to where they leave and everything is disgruntled. I'm sorry, and you got people talking about you, i.e., Xavier Howard as well. So, and I think he might have asked for a trade because he looked around, and that just confirmed our suspicions that they're trying to sneak in a quick little, a rebuild under our nose.
Absolutely. Listen, bro, this current construction of the roster of our favorite players is over. It is what it is. It's over. And yeah, I mean, that's cute. I'm looking for 8 to 15 minutes. That's what I'm looking for. The fact of the matter is, Tone, the question would be for me is why if what you're saying is true, that Jalen Ramsey asked for a trade, the question I would have is why.
And like I said, go ahead.
No, but is it because of money?
No, like I said, okay. I think he looked around, saw Calais Campbell out of here, Teron Armstead out of here. Y'all brought we assembled this roster as win now mode. The way currently constructed, this is not a win now mode roster. And if I'm Ramsey, I'm looking around, say, yeah, I'm trying to hit the door as well.
Right.
With all due respect. I think that's what it was. I don't even think it was a money issue. I think it was, nah, bro. We're not winning right now.
And that could be
into a contender.
Right? That could be. Yeah. Let me throw another scenario at you. Could it be that maybe Miami asked him to restructure?
That's another. You know what? Great point right there.
Great point. And take a pay cut, right? And I'm just going to say this: there's rumblings going on, right, around that. And again, it's not even rumors; it's public knowledge if you listen enough, right? There's players in that building that don't believe in Mike McDaniel. We've been saying that Mike McDaniel is losing the locker room. And I'm just saying, if that is true, and a scenario happened to where the Dolphins, let's say, went up to Ramsey and said, hey, man, listen, we might see a little slippage in your game. You're still a good player, but you're not worth the 21, 22, 23 million that we're giving you, and we want you to get a reduced salary or whatever. I don't know if Jalen Ramsey is the type of player, especially if he's not believing in, let's call it the culture, coach, whatever. No, I'm not taking a pay cut. And I'm just saying, at that standpoint, Jalen Ramsey tells the organization no. The organization says, okay, well, we're going to try to move forward then. And I think for me, that's where we are now. We're in a situation to where, again, there's no way you can mend the fences at this point. You got to get rid of them. I know, and shout out to the Dolphin Collective with TD. Hopefully he's still in here so he can hear that. With Omar, Kelly, Alan Papar, Dudley Duron. Great first 2 episodes, right?
That's a fact.
But I'm listening to like Omar, and Omar is, well, how could you trade him? You're not trying to win. Do you really think the Dolphins are trying to win?
See, and that's what we're understanding.
I don't understand. But no. But this is the point, Tom. If me and you can understand, and the fan base can understand, how is people that's in that building and the beat reporters can't understand? The fix is in. I think TD said it best, bro. Right? We started 5 years ago.
And Tua was gonna be fine. I don't know if you heard it at the end of the show.
Well, I did hear it at the end. That's a little wild, but hey, salute, right? But I think when TD said, remember, 6 years ago, it was tank for Tua.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Now, TD has a quote, and I'm not trying to steal it from him, but I think he's spot on when he says, they're tanking on Tua.
Yeah.
That's how they're moving, bro. The team is showing you, okay, cool. No, we're not going to restructure this deal. We're not going to create more money. We're not going to go get the top line free agents. We're not going to do this. This is the bed we made. We messed up. Now y'all go fix it. And can Tua do it? I don't believe so. Can Mike McDaniel do it? I don't believe so. At the end of the day, the Dolphins are moving in a way to where, and Tone, you've heard me say this. I think quietly, never going to be publicly, but I think privately, if you ask Stephen Ross, would you want a 9-8 season or a 4-13 season? I believe Stephen Ross asked for the 4-13 season.
Possibly.
I think Stephen Ross has all these contracts, all this money coming off the books. Supposedly, Miami could be anywhere between. And again, this is players coming off the books, and maybe we getting rid of some players. They can easily be next year $80 to $100 million worth of salary cap. And if you're telling me, right, that after 5 years this hasn't worked, and in next year I can come into the thing with 80 to 100 million in salary cap plus a top 5 overall pick, sign me up, is all I'm saying. And that's the way it looks like they're moving, Tone.
I think, yeah, they might. It looks like it, and I mean, I think it'll benefit us more if we do it after next season in 2027. But I'll take it in 2026 as well. But yeah, that might be. I mean, you made some great points there, and then you did say, what about this? And this is the last part because it's gonna transition me right into my next segment. Do you think maybe Tua health is a concern with these guys, and they like, listen, man, he don't look as healthy as we think he is. They're not sure if he's going to play a full season, and they're tired of losing their years, their last few good years of their career. Well, let's just say Ramsey, last 2 good years of his career, and trusting in Tua, and they'll prefer to go to a real true contender because listen, like that. What's the deal with the hip? No one really clarified it until after the season. They said something about, I forgot what it was. You remember how vague they made that hip injury was? You know, it's right next to the injury. It's not the exact injury, but right next to it. What do that mean? The hip is the hip. So that could have had something to do with it. So I don't know. I might think that they know he's more privy to some things that we're not, and it just don't seem like he's too enthusiastic about where the team is going, and he's like, you know what, send me to a contender. I'm not going to waste the latter of my years when I still think I'm in my prime to rebuild again. Sorry, it's not going to happen. So, but listen, speaking of Tua, now I don't want to waste. I don't want to waste too much time because Tua becomes a hot topic. But what do you make out of Chris Grier when it came down to naming these captains? He failed to mention Tua's name. Big deal? Not a big deal? Talk to me, Lou.
Well, Tone, didn't I tell you there was going to be a theme for this show?
Oh, shut.
Retaliation is a must.
Ooh-wee.
And the fact of the matter is, when he didn't mention Tua Tagovailoa's name, that is a direct shot. I believe Chris Grier walked in. Listen, if you're people that know about guns or whatever.
Game Boy, I see you in the chat. You are wilding with this. My bad, Lou. Game Boy killing it with this tight hero.
Game Boy he's crazy. We love Game Boy around here.
Game Boy, shout out to you. Yo, he's killing it.
I'm just gonna tell you right now, though, Tone. Chris Grier walked into that press conference yesterday not with like a 40 cal, not with a 9mm that comes with a clip. He had that revolver. And that revolver don't jam up. And that revolver goes bang, bang. And for him not to mention Tua as one of the leaders or captains or whatever, bro, he rarely even mentioned Tua's name. Even when he was talking about the starting quarterback, he said, oh, we have a starting quarterback in the building. I could argue.
Not franchise.
Exactly right. He never mentioned franchise. He said we got our starter. He could be possibly talking about Zach Wilson. He could be talking about anybody. I'm just saying, Tone, the way the interpretation was, right? he left it out there like it's over, man. It's a bad look for Tua, right? If you go, let's say we're watching a Cincinnati Bengal press conference, you think Joe Burrow is named as one of them leaders?
Facts. Probably the first name he calls out.
How about in Baltimore? You think Lamar Jackson is going to be called one of those leaders?
Again, probably the first name he calls out.
In Kansas City?
Patrick Mahomes.
How about in Buffalo?
Josh Allen.
How about in Washington?
Yeah, that special dude, Jaden Daniels.
How about it with the Houston Texans?
CJ Stroud.
We can keep going if y'all
He
want.
going the Rams.
I'm just a little.
My
I'm just a
dude,
little
Matthew
tired
Stafford.
right now.
Y'all listen. We could keep naming no matter where you go. Even in Detroit, they still gonna say Jared Goff probably first. It's just their names are going to be brought up. So yes, to your point, Lou, I do understand that. Hey, listen, man, I'm trying to tell y'all, and y'all don't got to believe us. But listen, at least we stand when we were saying, well, you know, listen, Chris Grier has something to do with him not getting paid as well. I mean, I know the dude came out, Dave Hyde came out and said, give Brandon Stewart his credit. Well, maybe him and Chris Grier was hand in hand. Maybe they was on the same page. And I listen. Sometimes, like Lewis said, it could be a message within the delivery or the or lack of saying your name. That revolver don't jam. And for him to say, he stopped that Zach Sealer for like 4 arms. That means your natural instinct is to call your quarterback out. To me, and that's just my interpretation, he was trying not to purposely say to his name.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he started to break Waddle. The next name coming out of his mouth was Tyreek, coming off that criticism and this stuff in the media. You know he didn't want to say Tyreek right then and there.
The man mentioned Austin Jackson.
And Alec Ingold. So I'm saying it. Maybe y'all listen. I'm putting him on my 10-4 hat. I think there was a message in the lack of mentioning his name. So to me, you can take it how you want to, but it doesn't look good. And just for the fact that he leave it to us to interpret it in this way, it still doesn't look good. Everything that they've been doing have been a little shaky for the most part. And we're like, whoa, what does that mean? Okay, Tyreek coming out here said we need dogs. They coming out here saying there's a rift between Waddle and Tyreek. And then we say, well, it might not be Waddle and Tyreek, it might be Waddle and Tua. And they were supposed to be best friends. You know, hey, listen. And then next thing you know, you got Raheem Mostert going on. Shout out to the Dial Bar. Rumors is he's talking about that the locker room might have lost hope in Mike McDaniel. So this whole offseason and all the rumors and everything that's coming out, it seems like it's collapsing right in our face. The writing is on the wall. It's falling apart right here before our eyes. Now, you could take heed to the signs, or you could close your eye and be a blind fan. But where there's smoke, there's fire. That's always been a true statement. It's going to always stand true because things like this just don't come out. And people don't run the risk of saying things if it was a lie. You know, some people like I was like, maybe he was just bitter, but I don't care what it is. There's too many statements and stories that's coming out to where the turmoil in the locker room is starting to be made more public. It started during the season now. You know, we were pointing out all during the season when Jordan Brooks called them out. Seemed like you were frustrated, and then Tyreek called them out at the end of the season. So it's not like it's something new. It's been frustration has been shown and coming out the locker room. So all I'm saying is, I've never. Let me go back. Even during the bully scandal, it ain't been this crazy. Well, I've been a fan for over 45 years, and this is the worst I've seen. Shout out to Doc.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Shout out to Doc, bro. That is a fact. Louis, you remember we were talking behind stage, and I was like, Louis, I've never been this interested in the Dolphins season. Not even after the 1-15 season has I been like, nah, you know, it's like it's just down. It's the worst that I've been. I don't know if it's overwhelming. I don't know if it's because over time it's fatigue. I don't know what it is, but this has been the worst that I've been feeling going into the season. I'm like, man, my expectations are so low to where at least beginning of the season, I'm like, man, let's just see how it goes. Teams have turned around after one season. But this year, I'm like, no, I don't see no changes. They have to show me. I don't see the direction going up. I just don't. Now, hopefully, at defending me, hey, listen, I hope they prove me wrong. I hope I have to come in here, eat crow, and say, yo, they proved all us wrong. We all doubted them. And look what they're doing. Let's put some respect on Chris Grier, Tom Garfinkel, Brandon Shore, Mike McDaniel, Tua Tagovailoa. I don't, maybe Tyreek's still here, Jaden Waddle. Let's put some respect on their names. But to finish off that segment is, I think that it's more to it and I think it was on purpose that he didn't say to his name.
Absolutely, bro. Listen,
and that's a message. Like that's what, my bad. Before you finish, that's his Brian Flores way and say, I ain't want you anyways.
1000%. That's him basically letting everybody know I didn't want to give him no contract. This wasn't me.
Interpret it how you may.
It pretty much. And the fact of the matter is, Tone, what you see with Tyreek Hill and some of his antics, what you see from Jalen Ramsey, some of these tweets here recently that have been a little cryptic here and there or whatever. All they're doing, Tone, everybody in the building is in they're lining themselves. And you know what? I can show you better than I can tell you. This is what it looks like in that building right now.
Him, her, him, bodies.
Everybody is pointing the finger. Everybody is turning on everybody, and it's every man for themselves at this point. That's what it is, Tone. This is not a team. This is not a collective. No one's working together. It's every man for themselves. It's a free-for-all. It's a race to the end, and I'm not trying to get blamed for it. From the front office to the coaching staff to the players. It just is what it is, bro. And every time there's a breakup, it's in life. Anytime there's a breakup, what happens? No, it's your fault. No, It was your fault. No.
It's the blame game.
It's the blame game. And what do we see, Tone? Everybody just pointing the finger, everybody blaming everybody. It's always someone's fault. All we're trying to say for the people that are listening, it's closer to the end than the beginning. The honeymoon phase is over. All the smacking of the asses in the back and all the kissing the foreheads of the players, that's over. And who knows for the coaching staff and the regime as well. You know, who knows? But I'm telling you now, it's closer to the end than the beginning.
You know what I think, Lou? You make a great point because you did. I'll give you credit. You did mention before you go in there, yo, what if Chris Grier come out there and start pointing at people and start going down that checklist? Like, yeah, I told you this, I told you that, I told you that. So hey, this is what it looks like is going on. Now let's get into, because now this was a heated debate, and let's start getting into the meat and potatoes of what and breaking down Chris Grier and now let's divulge into this. Chris Grier, he's speaking on the fact that he felt like he deferred a little too much to his liking. And I'm sorry, but as a GM, I can't let you get away with that, because if you have the power to make the final decision, I lay that at your floor, heavy as the head that wears the crown. Sorry, my boy. When you decide to defer, that's still your decision. I just want to point that out to the people that might have got misconstrued when what you say? I need one of those red bliss pickup. Got you. I'll hit you up about that. Miss Relentless. Now might have getting misconstrued when we were saying, what do you expect? It's Stephen Ross. This isn't that. Now when it comes to Stephen Ross picking other one side over here, listen, he has nothing to do with that. But you coming out saying that you might have deferred more than a little bit too much to your liking, I think there's a problem right there. Now, remember what I said. The first time when they asked me, what do you think about Chris Grier? And when I saw the press conference, I was like, you know what? I've been noticing he seems like he's non-confrontational. Now, he'll get on here and he'll say some slick things, and it'll rub some of the people in the fan base the wrong way, and it'll piss someone off like me off, because I know you non-confrontational, because if I check you about it, you'll be like, well, hey, this, and that. And I'm like, that seemed like his character. And it might not bode too well for him. Then, like I say, shout out, I like to give credit when credit is due. We're watching the Dolphins Collective. And Omar Kelly said some of the same things. He was saying he was hearing that the one thing that they, that one takeaway that I forgot who was, I don't want to butcher it, was that Chris Grier didn't put his foot down as much as he should have. He did defer way too much instead of saying, listen, I'm the GM. We have this, you going this way, you put in this way. This is going to be my decision, and that decision is going to be final. I think that's not good for you to be the GM, because you are supposed to be the leader. You are supposed to be the last voice. You're supposed to be the final say-so. So to be non-confrontational and to like to defer a lot. Now, I understand a great leader understand how to delegate. But in your delegation or your delegating, you got to understand who you're delegating to. It has to be someone that you trust and that you believe what his idea or whatever his suggestion is, it's going to work and it's what's best for the team. That decision still falls at the feet of your decision, of you. You still get the blame for that because you decided to delegate or defer or however, whichever way you want to use. So I'm sorry, I'm not letting him slide off with that to say, oh, I might have, all right, cool, good. But that still don't change the fact that everything that you've done. Now going forward, hopefully it's a learning experience and you learn from your mistakes. And I like to point out something too, because I'm not 100% sure, and I might have to go do some research on it. But how they extended them until what year? Is it like 2028? How? Remember him and Mike McDaniels got those? They're both extended. I think it was 2030 or something. Aren't both of them extended until that time, Lou? If I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I think it was like a 2 to 3 year extension. I think.
So is it like 2027?
Well, what did Mike McDaniel get originally? A 4-year deal?
I believe so. I'm not sure. That's a great point, Doc. You delegate tasks, not the responsibility. Facts. That is a fact.
Now, this is the question, though, right? Because I hear everything you're saying, Tone, and I agree. Don't take this as I disagree. The question is, though, for the collective, we could want Chris Grier to, again, stand 10 toes down, ultimately have the final say. I'm just asking the question, do you think he has that autonomy to do so? Because it's easy for us to come out and say we want him to do that. But if the guy that is cutting the checks, the overall boss, if the boss says, no, you can't make the final say, we do things here as a collective, at that point, as an employee, because that's what Chris Grier is, that's what Tom Garfinkel is, that's what Brandon Shore is. They're all employees at that point. What is Chris Grier supposed to do if that is the case?
Now, to that point, I get it. I'm only strictly referred to the fact that he said he deferred, which means he felt like he had the final say so in that decision, and he chose to defer. Yep. That's what I was saying. Now, when it comes to going to Stephen Ross and they going over his head, no. That's why I said that's why I said we breaking it down into segments, and divulging into what he actually said. And then now let's separate that part and let's only focus on that part. When you say I deferred more than I would have liked to, or a little bit more too much, that means you made that decision. You wasn't forced into that. You didn't have an ultimatum. Well, I ain't gonna say ultimatum, but no one was behind you like, listen, you got to do this. I don't care. He chose to defer. In those type of decisions, no, bro, you go ahead, you make the final say so. You stand on your word because that's why we pay you to be the GM. And listen, sometimes it as a person that goes, let me just say as a man, when you're hired to do a job, and let's just say you're superiors, and Lord, you might understand this, being in upper management and things of that nature. Sometimes when the people above you are just right there, like it's the boss. You don't get no higher than them. Sometimes you go there when you disagree and you be like, hey, listen, man, understand where you're coming from and the things that you're saying to me, but you hired me to do a job. Do you have confidence that I'm good at my job and I can get my job done to your satisfaction? Sorry. Do you have confidence in my abilities to get this job done? Because if you do, then I'm telling you, this is the route that we need to make, and allow me to do my job and judge me based on my results. Don't handcuff me. Don't babysit me, because then you wouldn't need me in this position. Let me do my job, and then you can evaluate that. You know, and that's just to your point of what is he supposed to do. I think you make that stance, and not saying he didn't do that, but I would like for him to have made that stance and say, "You, what's his name? Bill Parcells." I always bring Bill Parcells. I'm sorry. I always bring what he said. If you want me to prepare the meal, at least let me shop for the groceries. And that's all I'm saying that he should have said in that standpoint. You remember when we had that huge back and forth debate? Should Brandon Shure have any say so and Tua getting paid and this and that? That would have been a nice time. Hey, listen, I understand he decide whether the money goes, and he said what he had to say. But as the GM, the one that's responsible for the talent coming in and retaining the talent, I'm saying I don't care how you feel about those numbers. I need that guy, sign that guy. Or if Mike McDaniel went behind your back and you did not want to sign him, you go right back up to the Stephen Ross and say, Ross, I understand you hired me to be the GM. You hired me over personnel. And I'm saying this is what's best for the team that I want to assemble.
Right. And Dre, real quick, Dre says, I'm quitting if I'm Grier. I got too much dignity and pride. The fact of the matter is, I just want everybody to know, the 38 people we have watching,
49,
Dre,
40.
Oh, it's 40, right? Dre is a flip-flopper because earlier today in the space, he said he would not quit the job. I just wanted to point that out. Dre is a flip-flopper. But the fact of the matter is, Tone, I get it, right? And
29 likes. Can we get the likes up? 40 y'all in the building. Y'all hit that like button. Come right back in. Just hit that X. Hit that like button. Come right back in here. We appreciate y'all for rocking with us on this Monday. Y'all know how I get. Y'all, we breaking it down the real true way.
Cap for Life said Chris Grier's contract extension got through 2030.
And then he said earlier that Mike McDaniel through 2028. You know what? Okay. 2028 is real close to that 2027 out they got on tour.
Absolutely. No, I'm saying with again, bro.
I mean Wednesday. I'm sorry, y'all. My brain out Wednesday edition. G said Monday, Wednesday.
Yeah. I'm not trying to absolve Chris Grier. For the people that want him up out of here, and again, he holds the title of general manager. The reason, but all I'm saying is, I think, because ask yourself this question, and this is for everybody, right? 2 years ago, I heard Chris Grier did a horrible job, get him up out of here. Last year, Chris Grier's done a horrible job, get him up out of here, right? I mean, hell, it's been 3 years of it.
Yeah.
Why do you think he's not gone? It's maybe because of the fact. No, it's not that they're allowing him.
No, I'm saying that a lot of the decisions aren't his. That's been final decisions.
And that's the point. He sits there, and again, I told everybody, he has a notebook. He puts all time and dates of all these events that happen. And at the end of the season, when they're having the end of the season, meetings or whatever, and the collective is all sitting there. Chris Grier opens up that notebook and he's just page by page. On this date and this time, I said to do this. Y'all said to do this. Check mark. The collective won. Bam, 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 going down the list. And Stephen Ross looks at that and he's like, well, I can't fire him because, again, I'm putting pressure on him to work with the collective. And what I mean is, let's say the collective, we got 3 people on this show, Tone, me, you, and Alex. There's the collective, right? If I want to do something, well, with Alex, it is allegedly, right? Shout out to my dog, right?
Alex.
But the fact is, Tom, if I want to do something, right, and then you and Alex want to go a different way, the collective wins. It's 2-1.
Yeah, facts.
Same with you, same with Alex, right? 2-1 always wins. So what I'm saying is, at How does if the owner is telling Chris Grier you have to work with the collective and they're all in a room and the collective ends up beating out Chris Grier, does he really have the ultimate say? Like, does he? I don't. Again, it's so, I just don't like the collective, Tom.
I'll get
I
it.
think we are. I don't like the collective because this is the scenarios where we don't know. We really don't know who to put the actual blame on.
Right.
Right? And that's what's confusing. And hopefully, to Chris Grier's point, because I think Von Joe was making great points earlier in the Twitter space as well. I think yesterday what you've seen, and hopefully he does stand on his word when he said, I've delegated too much or I've relinquished some of my power and I've listened too much, right? Hopefully he's finally putting his foot down and he's saying, whether I succeed or whether I fail, moving forward, blame me. Forget about the collective. Forget about all that. Hopefully that's what we're seeing by what he was saying yesterday. Because again, Tone, you know me. I've been a Chris Grier, I guess, defender or whatever, because ultimately I don't think he's done a good job or a bad job creating or putting up this roster. Right? I think for a general manager, your job is to put or collect the most amount of talent that you can put on one football field. And in my opinion, Chris Grier has done that. Now, has it worked out? No. Right? And I think that's what people look at the end results, and that's fine. But hopefully, all I'm saying is hopefully Chris Grier is the one that now he holds all the weight. There could still be a collective, I guess, if people want, and this and that and the third. But I just want, if Chris Grier is the general manager, Tone, all I'm saying is I want him to have full autonomy, whether it fails or not, so I don't have to argue or debate with you anymore, Tone, and we don't have to debate with people in spaces, and then we don't have to debate with people on Twitter, and we can all come to an agreement that, hey, we failed, blame Chris Grier, or we succeeded, give Chris Grier credit. Because as far as this collective goes, and, well, am I giving Tom Garfinkel credit, Brandon Short credit, Stephen Ross credit, Chris Grier credit, Mike McDaniel credit? It's too many chefs in one kitchen. If you only have one kitchen, I mean, damn it, bro, you only need one chef. You don't need 4 chefs in one kitchen, is all I'm saying. I just can't put all the blame on Chris Grier like everybody else does. I mean, Tony, you see everybody in the chat blowing up. Fire Chris Grier. Chris Grier sucks. He didn't do that. Like, everybody knows about the collective. How do you put it on one man? How? I just don't agree with that, man. I'm tired of the collective, and I want the collective gone. Let Chris Grier either sink the Titanic or, hey, we're missing the iceberg and now we're on an upward trajectory. But again, I made the argument, Tone, with Brian Flores. If you decided to give that man the keys to your franchise, let him make the decisions. If you put Chris Grier in power, let Chris Grier cook. Let him make the decisions. And I think we would be a much better team if we only had one cook in the kitchen, Tone, not the collective.
So do you think by the press conference that he had yesterday, do you think that he was leaning more towards that direction that, hey, listen, I'm gonna just start making more decisions. I'm gonna stand firm a little bit more, and I'm gonna just start taking control over the situation? You think that's the message he was giving out, or you think he was just pointing out, like, man, these the ones messing everything up? It's not me.
Well, I think he did. I think you could kill birds with one stone, right? You could kill two birds with one stone,
yeah.
Right? And I think that's what he did. I think he let everybody know that. And again, he even put some of the blame on himself when he said, "I let people make more decisions.
I deferred, yeah.
I deferred to
much.
people."
Yeah.
So he put it on himself. And then I think that's also a shot when he said, "I'm not going to do that anymore." Right? So he basically killed 2 birds with one stone. So I like it from that perspective with Chris Grier. Again, at least for me, and I think this is the point that Von Joe was making in the space earlier. At the end of the day now, moving forward, it would be more easy for me, Tone, to blame Chris Grier for the moves moving forward, because I believe he will have full autonomy now. If it is true, if he's standing 10 toes down.
Now, Lou, one question I would have, a bit of pushback. Why is it? Why they took him this long to take that stance?
Well, well. Again, right? Tone, we talked about it in the space earlier, bro. I'm not saying I agree with it, right? This
Mm-hmm.
is a lot of the times when we talk, people hear us, and whatever stance you take, it's because people will listen and be like, "Well, you're agreeing with it." Let me preference by saying I don't agree, but I understand. I'm not leaving it. If Chris Greer is getting paid $2 million, right? Let's just say I don't know what he's getting paid, but let's just say $2 million. If I know that I'm getting $2 million, and I know that ultimately, whether we win or lose, I'm not going to get in trouble. I'm still going to have my job. I'm gonna stay nice and quiet. Now I'm gonna collect that check.
Yeah, but
No. There is no but.
not,
I'm
it
not.
is. No,
I'm
I'm
not.
sorry.
I'm not.
Just hold
I'm
on.
not risking. I'm not
No,
risking $2 million, Tone.
how many mistakes you think he made as a GM? How his overall job from start to finish, from what part since 2016 to now would you say, well, you know what? I don't like the
No.
way you've been doing. So now I'm going to cherry pick your job for you. Now I'm going to just bird feed you your job, and I want people looking over your shoulder. What has he done to merit that type of treatment?
Again, what treatment though? What are you talking
The
about? What
fact that,
treatment?
like we saying, there's a collective. He don't have final say so. He had to deal with the Tom Garfinkles and the Brenda Shore. What part of his job deemed it necessary for them to have a collective? Is what I'm saying. There's no need.
No.
So
Well,
when you come
no.
down,
But they had a collective before Chris Greer was even in the building. Donna Ponte was the collective.
okay,
She was working with Tannenbaum and stuff. So again, it wasn't that Chris Greer got the job and all of a sudden they were like, oh, here's the collective. That's how the Dolphins have been moving ever since Stephen Ross is on the team. Stephen Ross loves collective, right? You look, Tom Garfinkel's been here since what, 2012, 2013? Brandon Shore's been here since what, 2015, 20? Bro, it's been the collective. They just didn't say, oh, well, we don't believe in Chris Greer. We're going to get a collective. Stop. That's how
but
they
what
operate.
I, all I'm
Is it
saying
not,
is,
Tone? Is it not that? Is it not how they operate, Tone?
okay, from what we know, yes, but all I'm saying is, for Chris Greer, he should have put his foot down from the beginning when they started the nonsense. Listen, man, if you brought me here to do the job, or you promoted me to do the job, let me do it. Now, allow me to make some mistakes. Start judging me based on like I said, my results before you talk about this collective thing. Unless he's not more of a football guy, as much of a football guy that we think he is, because you know what you're doing.
I get it. I think, right? If Chris Greer was making $100,000 a year, and everybody was shooting at him and blaming him, I think it's easier to say, hey, let me do my job because I'm getting shot at from the left, front, back, and side, right? But it's easier for me to swallow. Again, I'm not saying I agree with it. What I'm saying is I understand. You're going to pay me $3 million a year, and I don't have to win. I don't have to do nothing. All I have to do is stand here and take shots. Oh, yeah, I'm going to get this $3 million. Hey, every time someone shoots, I look at that bank account, and all I see is them zeros.
I heard you say you understand it, but you don't agree with it. I'm pissed off about it. I'm just saying, if you're going, why take the stands now? What changed now? Let's be real, Lou. What changed now? Now all of a sudden you want to take the stance? What, you fed up now? Because you still can sit around and do the same thing. Sit around, collect that paycheck, sit down, sit around, not have too much pressure on you. Oh, y'all want to make all these decisions? I'm going to keep on taking this route. I'm still collecting that check. Why all of a sudden the difference now?
Well, again, maybe he had a check. I don't know. I can't answer that for him. I'm just giving you my opinion.
I'm just not trying to let him off the hook, Lou. Like, I get it because I understand the collective.
Nobody's letting him off the hook. So fire him. You see how easy that came out from my mouth? Fire him. I could care less. I could care less. What I'm saying is, it doesn't. If you think, and this is for everybody in the chat, if you think a general manager is coming in here that's going to be anything different than what Chris Grier is, you're sadly mistaken.
I just
No. It's not what if. I'm asking because I see Cap for Life. Cap for Life is a big one in here. Chris Greer's gone. He wants a fire. Cap's won on a fire for years. I'm asking Cap, who's coming in here and working with the collective? Who?
Maybe someone. Listen, like I said, to my point, maybe someone that come in the door first quarter, first day and say, "Hey, listen, man, you hired me to do the job. Let me do my job." Everyone heard the stories. You remember when I said when we bring in Mike Tomlin, if the rumors are true, Mike Tomlin got the stories. You remember? I brought it to everyone's attention. Mike Tomlin could go in there and be like, you tried this and you failed. The last person that told you that y'all was moving wrong based on making the football decisions, y'all was wrong about, and y'all got stuck with Tua. And now that is the reason that I'm at your front door right now. You still looking for a head coach. You still looking for a culture change because you didn't listen to the first guy that understand how to win Super Bowls. So what I'm saying is, you know what I'm saying? If Chris Grier feels that there's a lot of decisions that he wouldn't have necessarily went with, he should have been put his foot down. I'm speaking from the standpoint as a fan, and I don't want to hear this trash now. I don't want you to tell me this now because guess what? Hold on, Lou. Guess what? I don't believe you now. It's too late. I don't trust in you now. What have you shown me to say that you're going to stand 10 toes on what you're saying in this press conference?
Right. Again, that's fine. I'm not defending Chris Grier. Get rid of him. Give me people that are coming in here and working with what if? I don't want to hear what ifs. Who's coming in here and working with the collective?
I don't think no one will come in. Well, no, let me say that. No respectable GM is going to come in here and work with the collective. They understand why it's not conducive to a winning franchise. They understand why they're not going to come in here and it's going to be nothing but turmoil. It's going to be nothing but dysfunction. They say Louis Riddick, he might do. I might agree with that.
Well, Louis Riddick agreed.
Well, you still going to get the same Chris Grier. That's Chris Grier 2.0.
No. No. Forget about the collective when you mention Louis Riddick. Louis Riddick is the biggest proponent of how great the Dolphins team was. So you tell me what move Louis Riddick was going to do that was going to be different than what the collective and Chris Grier did. Please, I'll wait.
Well, they was talking about a GM that would come in because I don't think there's no GM that's smart enough to understand
there
what
is no
doing.
General manager. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for cutting you off. This is what gets frustrating. It gets frustrating, Tone. You know what? Let's turn this thing up. Let's talk about it. The Commanders said who, and they won the division. Now, Tone, I'm going to ask you just a simple question. Do you think the general manager won the division?
No.
Who won the damn division, Tone?
Jaden Daniels.
And if again,
the Washington Commanders.
Take the Commanders, right? With that, all the new players, roster, new ownership, general manager, all that. They had everything stays the same, Tone. You take Jaden Daniels off that team, are they winning the division? Which they didn't anyway, because the Eagles won that division. But I'm gonna leave that alone. Are the Commanders making the NFC Championship
game? No, not a chance.
With everything, well, according to Cap, they got a new general manager.
No, Cap. Sorry, Cap. I hear it, but no.
This is the people that we debate, though. They're wrong. The hatred for Chris Grier. Bro, I'm not worried about people's feelings if you like a man or not. If you think that the reason that the Dolphins have not won anything is because of Chris Grier, I don't know what the hell you're watching.
Well, didn't Chris Grier extend to him? Didn't he draft to?
That's what we're doing.
I'm just saying.
Cool. No, he drafted him.
It's the quarterback, right? So I mean,
no. Hold on. If we're gonna play that game, you know who drafted Tua? Brian Flores. He drafted him. Because all I know, Chris Grier came out and said, the collective, I have delegated and I have listened to all kind of people. Brian Flores drafted Tua. Now what? What are we doing? I played the game with y'all.
Not
I
on
play
that
the
decision.
game if y'all want.
On that decision, that was one of the ones that he didn't defer.
Oh, okay.
Didn't defer.
Oh, so now it's not that decision. Oh,
Yeah,
so
not
now
that
we're picking
decision.
and choosing. So now we're picking and choosing.
That was crazy. I'm just doing, just from the outside looking in. Just from my perspective, that's how I interpreted that draft pick, that selection.
Well, you know what, Tone?
It seemed like a Chris Grier decision to me. That's all I'm saying.
Tone? You are right. Chris Grier drafted Tua. You know why he had to draft Tua? Because Brian Flores missed out on Joe Burrow. Because Chris Grier was ready to draft Joe Burrow, but Brian Flores didn't want to take to get him.
Well, they ain't offer him enough money.
Now they didn't offer him enough money.
Listen, man.
You see how the goalposts move?
I'm just what you saying. I get it. I understand. Chris Grier. I mean, Brian Flores didn't lose enough money because they didn't offer. Maybe if they offered 250 instead of 100,000, maybe he would have been more, more open to that tank section. But no, I give you that. And I understood. So, how much blame do you give him then, Lou?
Bro, again, I give him enough blame to fire him. Fire him. All I'm saying is, again, everything I'm saying, I said, bro, I don't know how many times people want to hear it. Get rid of Chris Grier. If you think you're bringing in somebody, again, if the collective doesn't change, if again, we know what our facts are. We have people that are able to go over Chris Grier's head, walk to the owner's door and tell the owner, I don't want to do this. And the owner sides with that said player or person. Right? Is that not a fact, Tone?
Yeah, facts. Yeah.
We've
seen Mike McDaniel do it multiple times.
So we seen Tua do it as well.
Tua as well.
Right? Because Tua went up to to knock on that. Listen for the knock. Daddy Ross. Oh my God, Brian Flores is being too mean to me. It's either him or me. That's what we heard, right? All right, cool. Let's say, for the sake of argument, Chris Grier is now gone. We're going to give everybody in the chat what they want. Chris Grier is no longer the general manager. If the collective doesn't change, guess what doesn't change neither? Whoever the next general manager is, when a said player or person does not like what the general manager is doing, wait for it. Here it comes. Daddy Ross, oh my God, that new general manager ain't doing what I want. And Daddy Ross and the collective is going to go away. So y'all can have whatever general manager floats your boat. I don't care. But y'all are wrong. Again, miss me with the general manager is not winning playoff games. Miss me with the general manager is not winning division titles. It has nothing to do with that. I've been very consistent, Tone. I'm the flip-flopper, but I've been very consistent. Blame the players. Have I not?
That's a fact.
Okay, cool. Y'all got this argument. Y'all can have the rest of the general manager.
I'm blaming Chris Grier for bringing them players in here.
So it's Chris Grier. It's not the collective.
Listen, man. He the one had the press conference, not the collective.
Oh, okay. I bet. Hey, you know what? I got it. I bet.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna be real with you though, Lou. You don't come out here and act like you're gonna put your foot down all of a sudden. Because now I'm questioning. Well, could you have been doing this? Now I'm questioning. Maybe you have been using this as a scapegoat. Maybe you could have went up there and said, "Nah, you know all the Chris Grier haters that's saying, man, he really want to make those decisions. He's just making other people make those decisions to save his behind." That's all I'm saying. Oh, Lord, Lou. He said, somebody tell Lewis the Heat are dead to me. Purple Hearts.
Laker Nation is in the building.
They might be winning.
Nation.
Oh, man.
Laker Nation is in the building.
I hate it. But yeah, like I was saying, maybe he could. He has been behind the scenes. Protecting himself. You know what? Hey, listen. Go ahead, Mike McDaniel. Listen, man. He gonna listen to you. Go ahead. Go up there and tell him. They believe you. You remember? What I told you, Cap? I repeated what Lewis and Tony said on Peace Take Today and the other guys. Shout out to you, Mr. Pope.
Talk, man.
Hey, listen, anytime we can get y'all to go over there and have a healthy debate and kill everyone else on them other channels, we'll appreciate y'all. Take every take that y'all need. Just go over there and whoop some tail. You hear me? That's what I want y'all to do. Go over there. Let them know the Bliss pick up son, y'all. With them foolish narratives. But yeah, and that's all I'm saying, Louis. I'm bringing up the question of, and I'm playing devil's advocate because, you know, we hear a lot of things behind the scenes about what's really going on. But all I'm saying, if you're going to come out here and make this stance, then could you been have done this? Or when Mike McDaniel with it, were you behind him and say, hey, you know, did you have a stick of me? Because I did point out this. I pointed this out. He still was saying, well, Mike McDaniels and I. For a lot of the answers, it was Mike McDaniels and I. Now, do that sound like a person that them two are not seeing eye to eye? Because he could have gave him a tour treatment, not mention his name, kept it all about him. But no, it was Mike McDaniels and I. And it was really an I. The I was I deferred a little bit too much. But it seemed like him and Mike McDaniel still arm in arm, side by side, heading on the same trail, following the yellow brick road. That's what it seemed like. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to give him a pass like that and say, well, you know, I'm going to collect the check. Well, then, listen, if you want me to believe that everything you were saying is true, you got to show me now. We can't say, Lou, we can't say the team have to show us now. We can't say, oh, we don't believe in them. They got to show us now. And then all of a sudden we believe everything Chris Grier said.
I knew, Tone, that I liked Pablo Diaz for a reason.
That was fine. Come on, Lou. You know the Commanders GM won a Rookie of the Year and rushed for almost 1,000 yards while stacking up wins.
That's a fact.
I like that, Pablo Diaz. Right. Yeah, no, we know the quarterback. And I'm just saying. See, now that's the frustrating part. As a GM, man, as a regular casual fan, we understand. I left my pen. We understand the most important position is quarterback. So if you want, if it's one stance that you're going to say, I'm not moving off this, it's the quarterback position. Because it's the one that you're going to get criticized the most on. The one that you're going to get judged the most on. So if you strongly believe that you don't want to sign to her and you didn't want to extend, I'm sorry, not signing, you ain't want that extension and you and Brandon Shaw didn't want to give him that extension, you stand firm on that. You don't defer. You don't say, well, I don't want you to put that in your little notepad to say, well, I told you so. No. You had 5 seasons, well, 4 seasons prior to that, to the contract, to show why I don't think he should get this. Those are the I told you so moments. You don't give that extension and lock this franchise up for a minimum of 3 years with this dude, handcuff us cap-wise, just because you could say, I told you so. No. That's the time you stand firm. That's the time you don't defer. That's the time you go to Steven Ross and say, nah, bro. Fellas, I keep laughing at your live thumbnail. Yeah,
like,
hey, listen, we appreciate that.
Well, first of all, let me not say we. Tony's being a little too humble. All the thumbnails you see is Tone putting in that hard work. I have no idea how he does it, but he's been killing them here recently. And shout out to Night Wolf, by the way. I know Night Wolf. I've seen him a lot over there at TFTG. I haven't seen him around here lately or a lot, but I appreciate you, Night Wolf, for coming through. But again, shout out. I'm not part of this collective. There is no collective to the thumbnail. Tony does it all. Tony is not Chris Grier when it comes to thumbnails. He does not work with a collective. So shout out.
Well, Lou, I did get help on some, not this one, but I did get help on some of them. So we not, you know what I'm saying?
Well, again, everybody knows, but Tone and others have put in a lot of good work. But
yeah.
Hey,
now,
man,
this was one of my matches. This was mine, so I will take the credit for it. But you know how
you made me look like I was screaming, Tone, in the thumbnail though.
Well, hey, listen. Hey, one of them had to look humble. One of us had to look turned up. So no, this is not AI thumbnail. I stay up day and night preparing these. No, sir. That is me all the way. I create everything you see on there. No. He said, I just sub. Love me some Lewis takes always. Appreciate you. You see what I'm saying? Lewis is bringing some value to the team.
Absolutely. Shout out to you, Night Wolf. Shout out to you.
So appreciate you, Nightwolf. Okay, we one more away. Hey, listen, y'all get us to the 500. There's 42 of y'all in here. Sub. And one more subscriber for this baby channel. Facts. So get us to the 500. We are still doing that jersey giveaway, and I'm adding in the draft cap. So y'all go ahead and subscribe to us and get us to that 500. You know, let's do it before the draft. Let's try to get that before the draft, fellas. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get us before the draft. That will be an awesome treat. But yeah, Lou, I wanted to say that now I wanted to end off on this. It was just a random topic, but it kind of falls in the line of front office, and we kind of had a debate about it. But I want, you know, yeah, when we bring it over to the YouTube, we can give our, they just got to listen to us. Culture. This ongoing debate is, I ain't going to say frustrating. What I would say is, it is kind of frustrating. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It is kind of frustrating for people to not understand culture. So finally, I want to put this out here on the YouTube or on our channel. Lewis, what are your thoughts on who is responsible for the culture? Please. Because it's a narrative, it's the players, it's the front office. The front office had to bring the guys in. If you don't have a tough front office, then how you expect to have a tough? Please, give me your thoughts on that. I'll give mine, because sometimes it get kind of wild.
Okay, so who created the soft culture? In the 2020 draft, the Miami Dolphins select Tua Tagovailoa. That's when the soft narrative started. As soon as you heard those words uttered by Commissioner Roger Goodell, that we picked Tua Tagovailoa, the soft narrative walked it right into our building about a week later. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, to hurt feelings, and I know everybody, why does the conversation always go to Tua? Because again, in football, it's always the quarterback. You either have one or you don't. And guess what? Miami don't have one.
Wow. So you saying it's Tua Tagovailoa? That's what you're saying?
Well, he created the culture. Again, bro, when Brian Flores was our head coach, right? The soft narrative, it wasn't around, but we knew the team, we knew players were soft, right? When you heard that rumor come out and say, and I quote, you can't talk to people like that. What you mean I can't talk to people like that? We talk to people like that all the time.
That's a fact.
Do we not?
Yes, that is a fact.
Okay,
we talk to each other
cool.
like that. I heard it live on us. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Now, me and you, I just brought up you. Now, there was a guy that came into our Twitter space today, screaming and yelling. Did he not talk to people like that?
That's a fact. That is a fact.
When we go at everybody, do people not talk to people like that?
Yes, sir.
Now the problem is,
Kenna, I was searching for a take like this, Kenna. I'm glad you. Sorry, it had to be you, my brother. It takes a softie to pick the softie. Am I missing something? I'm going to tell you exactly what you were missing. Go ahead.
Now, Tone. All I'm saying is, right. This is where I'll shout out me and you, that gentleman that came into space earlier, and everybody else that screams, yells, kicks, fights, or whatever. You know what we do the very next day? We right back in them Twitter spaces.
Right back in there. Yeah.
Going back at it. Hey, wait for it, Tone. You know what you don't hear? Oh my God, Tony, we can't let this guy come in here because he's going to start screaming and yelling. And we don't do that. Everybody's welcome to come back and scream and yell and fight and do what it is, because that's just human nature. That's what people do. And I'm sorry, you can't. Again, the general manager that y'all love to hate, what was his words yesterday? We got to find people in the building and players that are ready to take criticism. We got to get some players in here that are willing to work hard. The fact of the matter is, when we drafted Tua, Javon Holland, Jalen Phillips, those soft-minded individuals, that's when the culture was created. Now tell me I'm lying.
I wouldn't say you lying, and I would say the people that create the culture, we already know. Me and you agree on this, so I'll concede that one. We don't even have to go back and forth on that. But so let me address this one right here, because I hear a lot of people saying coaches. I hear a lot of people saying front office and all of this knickknacks. Do you think Adam Gase was a tough, hard-nosed coach?
Adam Gase?
Yeah.
No.
He didn't come out. Was that team deemed soft?
No.
Did we have any issues with the team being soft?
No.
Who was the coach with Jay Ajayi and all them on there?
I believe that was Adam Gase as well. Wasn't it?
That wasn't it. That coach. He don't come off to you as the rah-rah guy, the take no trash type, no shit type guy. He don't come off at that.
That was the unicorn. That was the unicorn line, right?
Yeah. Now Brian Flores, on the other hand, he comes off as a tough, hard-nosed coach. Don't he?
Absolutely, 100%.
Tua was still here, and it's a reason if coaches set the culture, it's a reason he didn't want the guy. It's a reason a lot of them guys was folding, because the players set the culture. So,
Dre is a damn fool, man.
Who was in the front office? Because I want to, as he said, take a softie to pick a softie. Who was in the front office when we hired Brian Flores? Wasn't the same collective group?
That's a fact.
Do you think Jalen Ramsey soft?
No, sir.
Who was in that front office that brought in that tough guy? Now, do you think Calais Campbell soft? Would you say Zach Sealer soft?
No, sir.
When you say these kind of things, that take a softie to pick a softie, I just want you to know you're saying that everyone on this team is soft. Because those same people pick the one that you think is tough. Those same softies was the one that picked those guys. So if it takes a softie to get a softie, then we shouldn't have no tough guys in the building. There shouldn't be no Jordan Brooks in this building. There shouldn't. I'm sorry. So miss me. So if the front office create the culture, then they shouldn't be bringing no tough guys in. They shouldn't. Now, would you say? Because I know a lot of people say, "Oh, that Brian Flores team wasn't soft. They wasn't this." That one thing that team did, they played hard. They played very hard because he coached them hard. But guess what? The softies was complaining. He didn't get along with people. Why? The players went and they chose Tua over him.
What wasn't Jalen or Javon Holland complaining about Vic Fangio last year?
Yes, he was. Got him up out the building. Too tough. Who's creating that culture? Why are they not getting along well with these tough-nosed coaches? Because the coaches create the culture, right? So that means when these coaches say these players are too soft, they should be the ones getting out this building. They should be the ones leaving. No. You know the ones that's leaving? The ones that's soft. The ones that want this nice, cool, collective culture.
Hey, Tone, I highlighted your point earlier in the space. I'm going to do it here again. What happened to that New England culture?
That New England Patriot culture. You know when that culture left? When Tom Brady left.
What wasn't Belichick there for like another 2 to 3 years? After Brady left?
He had your homeboy McCorkle, or however y'all call him.
Now the coach creates the culture. What happened to Bill Belichick then?
What happened to Bill Belichick culture after that? Matter of fact, what happened to Tampa Bay's coach when Tom Brady went over there? I'm sorry. Please, somebody explain that to me. If it's the coaches, I'm sorry. Did Bruce Arians had that coach when he was in Arizona? Or did Tom Brady come in there and say, "Oh no, it's different over here"? You got that dude in the building, and all these dudes on fire. Grump followed Tom Brady. He didn't follow Bill Belichick. Now, when the players, the Asante Samuels of the world, the Gronkowski, the Edelman, have y'all been listening to a lot of them players' interviews? Darrell Reeves. Do y'all listen to the interview when they get out there? All of those guys say, we dealt with that because of Tom Brady. Tom Brady was the coaches. We forgot about that? Players said it. I ain't say it. The players. So we can debate all we want. But these players are saying who created the culture. And then on top of that, Bill Belichick said it himself. When we was debating if it's the coach or the player, Bill Belichick said the players create the culture. One of the greatest, if not the greatest coach of all time. He said this. So y'all can debate with them.
Hey, Tone, can you remind people of the story you like to tell about Ray Lewis?
Oh, perfect. Yeah, great to remind me. Great reminder. The little video that came out, it was raining, and the coaches brought the Baltimore Ravens on the inside to finish the practice. They were stretching. Matter of fact, they were still stretching. They didn't even practice. They didn't even start yet. You know who called them? Ray Lewis called his coaching them out. Yo, why y'all brought us all in here because of the rain? Oh, because it's a little bit rain, you gonna bring us in, or we scared of a little bit of rain? Y'all gonna make us soft. That's what Ray Lewis told his coaches. He said football is supposed to hurt. Football is supposed to be tough. We are the ones that have to go to war out there. We can't hide from the elements in the game. If we run inside after a little bit of rain, how we are going to be able to face adversity? This was Ray Lewis telling his coaches that. So you tell me who's setting that culture, Ray Lewis or his coaches? You be the judge. Because we could debate, we not in those locker rooms. But I'm telling you what the players that are in those locker rooms, what the players that are on those fields saying, and what the coaches that are coaching these players saying. You understand that? Let me ask you a question. What coach you think about when you think about Baltimore Raven culture? I'll wait. Brian Billick was there. Now they got Jim Harbaugh or John Harbaugh. Yep. Did that culture change?
No, it did not.
Because them players within that building, still in that building. When they say they got the player, that's a John Harbaugh guy. No, that is a Baltimore guy. Name me one culture that you think about and you say coaching, front office, when you think about team cultures. Alex just mentioned it so. A little bit of rain. Yo, so all I'm saying is, please, when you think of any culture, please tell me when you go to front office, head coach. It doesn't happen. It go based on those teams. How tough do you think what's the Tampa Bay coach?
Tony Dungy.
Tony Dungy. How tough you think he is?
Well, I'm glad
nice
you brought
guy.
that up. Tone, I live here in Tampa.
Oh.
Derek Brooks, right? Hall of Fame linebacker, lives in the area. Loves the city. Lives, sleeps, breathes Tampa Bay. He says, and I quote, matter of fact, I'm gonna tweet it out. I'm I'm going to show everybody. He said as much as he loved Tony Dungy, right? And as much as respect as he had for John Gruden when John Gruden came in and they won the Super Bowl, he said none of those guys, neither one mattered to the overall aspect of the team from the locker room standpoint and on the field, because his words are not mine. They knew, and he said about both gentlemen, Tony Dungy and John Gruden, he said both of those guys knew I was going to set it straight. He said when anybody, Derek Brooks said, my two coaches knew all they had to do was coach because they didn't have to worry about anything else. I was going to hold the locker room down. Now, again, on that team, they had Simeon Rice.
Rondé Barber.
But they had all those guys. Simeon Rice from the pass rush. Now, we know Warren Sapp could be a headache, right?
Yes.
We know some of the issues they had, right, with Warren Sapp, right, that he's had off the field. Now, when he was here in Tampa, Derek Brooks had him in line, though.
That's a fact.
They weren't worrying about Warren Sapp. They weren't doing none of that. And I seen people in the chat saying, well, you got to set the culture. The coach has to babysit players and stuff. Not when you have a guy like Derek Brooks.
Not at all.
Not when you have guys already setting the culture. Like I said to you, when you said that about Baltimore, Tone, they had Brian Billick. They changed to John Harbaugh. The culture didn't change. Same thing in Tampa. They had Tony Dungy. They brought in John Gruden. Two different guys. Look at the way John Gruden is. Look at how Tony Dungy is. You know what didn't change? That culture.
Facts.
Nothing changed. Two different guys. That culture, though, with Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, Simeon Rice, Rondé Barber, that stayed the same. You want a constant over that locker room? That locker room was a constant. They police themselves, and that's the point. The players are always going to dictate the culture. And the reason that Miami has a soft culture is because, again, theme of the night, when the going gets tough, when a coach decides to coach a player hard, this, that, and the third, what happens? Daddy Ross, oh my God, they're treating me bad. We got to get them up out of here. We got to do this. We got to do that. The players have created a soft culture in Miami.
Shout out to Miss Fins. Miss Fins in the building. She said, just like UD in the Heat. That's a fact. Go listen to your UD tell you, when the players come in, ask UD how they learn Heat culture. You got to go to UD. UD take you under the wings and say, let me teach you Heat culture. Not Pat Riley, not Eric Spoelstra. No, Udonis Haslem. Go ask anyone. That's how they teach them Heat culture. Let's go to the Chicago Bulls. Y'all remember when they got Dennis Rodman? Everybody know why did they trust him? Jordan. After the second championship, they asked him, hey, what do you think about his tactic? That don't bother me. That don't his off the field stuff don't bother me. He comes in here, he works harder than anyone. He's gonna give the effort. No one is gonna outwork him. That one time, in that third finals, I think it was the 98 season, when they had who went and got him out of the casino? That was Michael Jordan. It wasn't Phil Jackson, the Big Zen. It was Michael Jordan when he got him out of there. Hey, listen, we understand you do your thing, but we need you today. Yeah, you're doing a little too much. Michael Jordan kept him in line. So find me. Oh, you know what? And think about this.
Shout out to you, Miss Relentless. Shout out. She's leaving, so I just wanted to say bye. Shout out to you, Miss Relentless.
OMG, great show and topic once again, but gotta run. Shout out to you, Miss Relentless. Shout out. I appreciate you all the time. Can you find me a time when the coaches go and drag players out of clubs and all that? Typically, Lewis, what happened? They get into a debate. You got to pick either one or the other. When the culture, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick started going at it, then they initially had to choose one or the other. Now, if the culture said the culture, no, it's what the coach said. We ain't got to choose nothing. We got Bill Belichick. No, It's players. Now, all the players came out and told you, well, we dealt with Bill Belichick because Tom Brady was there. He was Patriots culture because we know no matter what he said, we believed in Tom Brady. So if he want to run us to death and do all this unnecessary things that we didn't want to do, we knew that is not what's going to push us over the hump. Not you running us to the ground. Tom Brady is going to go out there and put up. He's going to go put on for us. So we'll deal with all this unnecessary running. What happened? Because if Bill Belichick created a culture, there wasn't no need for him to lead the Patriots after Tom Brady left. Make Mac Jones do it. The next one. Make Mac Jones do it. So I'm sorry. It's right in the open for you. Dre is so funny. Don't appreciate y'all giving your dynasty the credit of Michael Jordan created. The credit Jordan created. Yo, you wildin'.
That's a fact.
All I'm saying is, for all you coaches and front office and all that, please go give me the examples of coaches and in front office setting the culture, creating a culture. It's when they get those guys in. I will give them credit of, listen, we want hard, tough-nosed players in here. Okay, go get a hard, tough-nosed guy. Because you can't go get a soft guy and then be like, oh, well, I'm tough. I'm going to make him tough. It don't happen like that. Why you think Tua said you can't talk to no one like that? Because you can't all of a sudden turn them. Now, whatever the how he made it, it don't matter. What I'm saying is, you're not going to turn a guy that's not a tough-nosed guy into a tough-nosed guy because you got a tough-nosed coach. We had the example in the house with Brian Flores and Tua and Jaden Phillips. And one, who the other dude that was complaining about him? I think it was Austin Jackson that went on.
Austin Jackson complained. Devontae Parker complained.
Devontae Parker. A tough guy. Trying to set a culture. It ain't work with those players. Now, when the players are in there, this is what we going to do. This is how we run in this locker room. You can't do it. Either you get down or you lay down. Players going to stop complaining when the dudes that's out there on that field doing that, they are going to fall in line. But you can't do it when they could go over the head and say, hey, coach, man, this dude. Where your coach at, coach? You know what? I'm gonna concede this argument to. I'm gonna get the Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins is the example of what happened when you try to let your front office and your coaches set a culture. You don't have any. What is the culture of the Miami Dolphins? I'll wait. Somebody tell me Dolphin culture. To all you head coaches, front office coaches, setting guys, please tell me what is the Miami Dolphin culture. You got an answer for me, Lou? Trying to figure it out. Answer for a friend.
Oh, you want the Miami Dolphin culture? Is that what you said?
Yeah, well, what is the Miami Dolphin culture?
That's the culture. They used to knocking on the doors and cry.
I would agree with you on CB country club culture. That goes to show there ain't no culture. Because country club can't play on the field. Country club don't get it done out there.
Well, that's crazy country club culture. You know who's a number one member of a country club? Tua
Tagovailoa. Facts. Tough guys are labeled as bullies. Facts, Billy Batson. 100% fact. Let's put it all out. Please give me the example. This is why players set your culture. Because when a player say, I need you to do this, when that dude come in here, you want to know what? I'm gonna show you what the culture was. What we saw that the culture was. I'm gonna show you Baltimore Raven culture, and I'm gonna show you the difference between the Dolphins. You remember when we bought Baltimore and Roquan Smith turned around and lit Liam Eichelberg for no reason? Who helped him? Who got his lit back? What was the fight? What was the pushback? What was the return fire? wasn't any. Because the players on the field don't show any. Facts. Now you tell me if we had a Ray Lewis on this side, a Ed Reed on this side, a Terrell Suggs on this side, let me tell you, do you think that slides? Or Jonathan Ogden, when they had Jamal Lewis at running back, you tell me would that slide? No, it don't.
Tony, you asked again, what is the culture in Miami? And the players have definitely set a soft-minded culture in Miami. You know what happens to coaches? Because I see a lot of people in the chat and a lot of people we talk to on a day-to-day basis that always bring up coaches create the culture.
No, they don't.
Okay.
That's why the coach is getting out of here.
Well, let's just play the game with them, Tone. You know what happens every time Miami brings in a coach that tries to set a culture?
They get him out the building.
This is Sparta!
Exactly, Lou.
That's the culture in Miami. That's what the players do to all the coaches trying to set the culture.
Exactly. These are facts. Let's not act like we don't see this. If the coaches set the culture, then when they're being tough on these guys, you don't get them out the building. No. The players are setting a soft culture by going telling. This is a telling culture. Facts. Vic Fangio told y'all they didn't want to do what it takes. Told you they was real about going out having a good time, then putting in the work. He told y'all, I can't work with that. Why would he say I can't work with that if he's the coach? They're supposed to be setting the culture. Out of here with that. Now you can believe what you want, but that just lets me know, okay, I get it. I've never been in a locker room and the coach is setting the culture and then the players go out there and they just follow the coach. No. You know what coaches do? Identify the guys that represent the culture that he wants his locker room to be like. If you ever been in a locker room, that's how, trust me, that's how it works. Coach don't come in and say, you, all y'all gonna be tough guys. Y'all run this team. No. They identify the guys that are representing what they want their team to look like. Go out there and handle that. I need them to follow y'all. These are facts. It's sorry. Now, you just look. Coaches come and go. Culture don't. These are facts, bro. You can believe it if you want, but all I'm saying is, sorry, not sorry. If we don't get these players in here that not folding, that is not, you know what I would have liked to see, Lou. You remember we saw in 2023, Water was having that little conversation with Tyreek. Man, we gonna score only 7 points. I would have liked to see him have every player on that sideline and yelling that to them. All the offensive guys, at least. We not going out like this. No, they was just sitting there, accepting the ass whooping. But then you gonna go point out how Travis Kelce, he out there bumping Andy Reid, making sure he's not happy with their production. What's going on? The boy out there bumping Andy Reid. Passion. Man, this is what I see out there. Whatever it went through. It's players. Dan Marino set the culture during his era. I don't even know how to feel about that.
Well, but it's true though. Listen, he didn't win. But when you thought about Miami, you thought about
Dan Marino. Yeah, that's a fact.
It's a player.
That is a fact. Hard, even with Don Shula, he got hard, tough. No, what Larry Zonka? You think about Larry Zonka? That team was tough. No name defense, all that. They was tough. I get it, Vonjo. Water with the dog. He's not a leader. That's why he can't. That's why the culture is not set. Sorry. These are facts. You can't dispute. Well, you can't dispute it, but try your best. You will not prevail. You're not going to win a debate. But it's unquestioned that the players set the culture because they're the one on the field. That's all. Listen, man. Listen, we still got 35 of y'all, 34 now. If y'all not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Like I said, man, get us to that 500 before the draft. Let me go see. I'm checking it out for y'all right now. Yo, man, we still 9 away, man. 9 away. Get us to 500. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, so we can give out that jersey and that we're gonna give 2 giveaways. One person getting a jersey, one person gonna get that draft hat. Yeah, man. If y'all like what y'all hearing, make sure y'all share this content, spread it to the whole YouTube, to your ex, to all your social media platform. Share it, like, subscribe. Help spread the content, man. Luke, anything else before we get out of here?
Yeah. So according to the chat, the Miami Heat are in the playoffs. Who would y'all draw round 1? The Cavaliers?
Yeah, the Cavs.
Cavs in 4.
Wait, if we win, do we? I don't even know how that.
Yeah. Because you're in. I think the Magic are the seventh seed. Y'all got the 8th, right?
Well, I think don't we have to play to get the 8th seed now? Because we was 9 and 10. Wasn't we like the 10th seed? So the 9 and 10
seed.
Yeah,
you got to win another
game.
One.
Yeah, they play the next game to advance to the 8th seed. I think. I don't know what seed.
Dre's saying y'all got to win another game.
Seed. Yeah, we have to win it. Yeah, see, they have to win. I know I wasn't tripping. Yeah.
I am praying with all my might that the Miami Heat win that playoff game or win the playing game.
No,
I'm praying with all my might. I want y'all to lose every pick y'all have. That's what I
want. Hey, man, listen, man. While Lewis still hating on everyone, man, we're going to get y'all out here on a good note. Man, we appreciate y'all walking with us. Still 29 of y'all in the building. Hit that like button on the way out. If you didn't hit it on your way in, we will see y'all on Friday, 7:30-ish. Appreciate y'all for rocking with the fellas and keep doing what y'all doing. We out of here. Peace. Lou, you want to end it off?
Yeah, I'll end it off the right way, man. Peace, and throw out them purple hearts in the chat.